Alright, I've done a little bit more work with this based on our dimensions that we took out there and additional conversation we had out there. And first I took those drop dimensions and applied them, and this was the red line is where we had been modeled so far, and then these were these updated elevation changes. So the green line becomes where we are now, and you can see it's not that much changed from where we were the last time. So when I was showing this, I had built that land up to do that, but if we just follow the land as it exists right now, according to what that little red marker here is, kind of a marker that I was using to make sure I was accurate, you could see that we had that we would have that big drop off. So we had talked about adding an additional tread and riser up here on the north side and moving this downstream the required tread depth like this. And on this one here, which we now know probably wouldn't have worked unless we had a big hump of land built up through here. But it wasn't going to work for a number of other reasons. But this was a 6 riser plan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when we add this up here, the idea wasn't to make it another 6 riser plan, but rather a 5 riser plan where that stair comes all the way down and then hits our twisted sidewalk at the bottom. And recall, this is with those 6-inch risers. So, but when we do that and leave those at 6-inch risers and just add another tread in there, we're still, and this is the grade as it exists now, there's my markers showing the dimensions I took, we're still well off of the grade with this sidewalk here. So not only were those 5-6-inch risers not getting us low enough here where this sidewalk is coming in, but this sidewalk is still shown sloping with that lawn downhill. So that would still be pretty high out here. Well, it's going to be that 13 or 16 inches. So, and you can see it's here. This is that pavement you're seeing, that sidewalk. So it would come out straight and go down, and you still have a 12-inch drop off here. So I knew that we were going to have to get a higher riser than 6 inches. And for the start, I started with making our tread depth 11 and making our riser 7, just to see what will that do. What will 35 inches do for us going into that ground? So when you do that, they become shorter, because the treads have to be shorter at 11 inches even. So they come back 4 inches and they get quite a bit lower into the ground, where now this sidewalk out here would only be, it looks like 7 or 8 inches off of the grade at that point. But looking at from some other angles, it looked like we could probably get by with not having to go down quite that far. So I reduced these from 7 to 6.5 inch high risers, and the tread depth becomes 11 1/4. So 11 1/4 tread depth, 6.5 inch riser, and that I feel like gave us a better balance here with how it's hitting this pavement down here. So I did that, and then started building that sidewalk, getting so that this is also 6.5 down to that corner and across its front, all 6.5. And then there's a number of things to do with the sidewalk, but I started with sloping it. But I started by sloping it 3/8 inch per foot, going this way, out all the way, I believe, which creates a pretty severe drop off here. That keeps that whole pavement at the 3/8 per 12 inch drop coming this way, which I wouldn't really want to make it any more slopey than that. I did that. What if you dropped it 1 inch per foot? But that's this bottom should be level when you come down here, or as close to these as possible. So dropping it another 1 inch per foot like that to mellow out this wasn't super helpful, and I didn't think it was viable actually. This is looking from the side, this is the 3/8 per 12 inch slope here. You can see what the drop off is out front, and if we get that down to 1 inch per foot, it's pretty severe to come down to the bottom of the steps. I don't think that's an option. And once I was pretty sure that could probably be made to work, it was a case of how wide should these stairs be. I think the super wide is probably a bit overdone, and if it is, it asks for a railing here. So I have, this one they are 64 inches wide, centered on the door system. And then if you went down, you go down to about 52 inches wide and just centered on the door itself. So that was just 2 or 3 different sizes of that straight stair look. And here you can see, this is presumably how this would be. You can see this angle's a little bit better, where this is coming out at 3/8 per foot here, and all it's 3/8 per foot all the way to this corner, and then it makes it slope down. So when you shrink that back a little bit, that helps that slope down some. And then once I got that far, I thought, well, probably Jimmy could make this is 3/8 per foot for the first couple, and then from here it slopes a little more evenly down to that driveway, more like this here, where this all just becomes walking surface. And in here it's pretty much level, and then it starts to slope down here, so we get something fairly smooth through here. So if Jimmy thinks this pavement is doable, like what I've described, then probably, not only you could have the urn, he would have to make a separate level pedestal for that, but not only can you have the urn, but you could, I just put together these two to show you that that's how the angular plan would work, where this is probably 40 inches here at least. I probably like this one more than this one, but those are two other alternatives that could probably work and be effective. And this one, whatever you want to do with that, that is that, and I will show you just a couple quick little films outside of that.